Alright guys, as I said in the video that I did this morning, that only the guys on Patreon are going to see this today. So I did a video this morning about factory edges, but I said that I was going to do a video about this. I have the dowel prototype, the only prototype of the dowel. The boys did get some production samples today, and this is a nice knife. Nice knife, not gonna lie. It is another one of the Ferrum Forge design released by Massdrop, produced by We Knives. And I really like this knife. I'm not going to get one, and there's one reason that I'm not going to get one. I fell in love with this knife the first time I saw it. It originally had been called, the working title for this knife was called the Death Warning. And I fell in love with this knife, but then I didn't realize until I got my buck that there were aspects of this knife that I personally like better. Now, most people are going to just fall in love with this modified sheep's foot. So we're going to turn the camera around. I will try to keep the volume in the intro low, but here's the thing. When I edit it on the YouTube platform, it's the same volume as the rest of the video. So if it's too loud, just plan that you're going to have to turn it down, starting right about now. Stuff out of the way. You know how it is here with Crazy Sharp. It is feast or famine. You never know how it's going to be. I have a week where I make good bit of income, and then I have a week where I do not. So we are going to lift this angle up a little bit so we can get this in here and focus in on this. This is the dowel folder. This is another one that was designed by Elliot at Ferrum Forge. Ferrum Forge Design. Him and his brother Christopher designed it, releasing it through Massdrop. It is full titanium scales, full titanium backspacer, pocket clip, sculpted pocket clip, with steel hardware. Now, this knife shares a lot of similarities with its cousin, the Buck. Now, I'm sure a bunch of you guys have seen the Buck, which is another modified sheep's foot blade, but it's more of a cleaver style. But there are some differences. There's some changes in the aperture, some changes in the handle. As you can see, this handle does not have a lanyard hole on the dowel. This one does, but this, I told him that this should have a race car name. This knife looks fast sitting still, and I also said that I look at this almost as an upgrade to what the Sebenza could be. This is, if the Sebenza would step foot into current time and instead of staying the way it is, and Chris Reeves Knives would make some modifications to designs, they could have something like this. So this knife runs on ceramic bearings, ceramic detent, steel lock bar insert, like I said, steel screws. The pocket clip is reversible for you lefties. Here's the thing. There is never, I guarantee you, there's not going to be a left-handed version of this. The closest you're going to get is a reversible pocket clip, because financially it doesn't make sense. I know there's been some complaints. When are we going to get a left-handed this? When are we going to left-handed that? You're not. There's like one company in the world that makes left-handed chainsaws that I can think of. So it's a right-handed world. It's a fact of life. So before anybody even comments, well, when are they going to make it left-handed? It's not going to happen. Like I said, you can reverse the pocket clip. These are just the slab handles. I know that they are a bunch of different designs. The jimping on this is pretty good. Finger choil there's been some minor changes, and you're going to see those on here, and they will be on the production versions of these. The pocket clip angle, as you can see, if you look at it, is just a little different. You see how this one's more center line, this one kicks out a little bit. Finger choil on this one is a little bit bigger. You can kind of see it. I can get more of my finger in there on this one than I can on that one. And the flipper tab. The flipper tab has been modified a little bit. So still S35VN steel, really nice and thin behind the edge, so it's going to slice nice, and it's a blade shape that is supposed to be slicey. Like I said, it's like a modified sheep's foot, almost a Warrenclyffe. A Warrenclyffe. There we go. So I can pronounce it correctly for my buddy Luke Albert. They are going to have, just like this, the Massdrop logo. The Massdrop logo has been changed a bit. If you can see it there, Massdrop, that's the original Massdrop logo. That's the new one. So, but all in all, I mean, these are very similar knives. And I will tell you, when I get this flipped back around, now that we've looked at this pretty up close, I do love the back spacers on these are awesome, because it's easy for me to do if you guys watch the things that I do when I modify and modify knives, I do a two-tone. So if you look, I orange peeled the tops and the facets on the sides, and then I left some contrast with that being just blasted instead of trying to polish down in it. And so, you know, that allows me a little bit of latitude. I can do black, peel that off, and then anodize. So there's a lot of things you can do with that. But let's turn this around and I'll explain to you why I'm not getting one. But before we do that, I wanted to show you, I just finished refinishing a buck for a customer, and we just murdered out the handles. It is all black hardware, all black everything, except I don't do the, so you guys, if you've ever wondered why I don't do the lock bar insert, the detent ball on these is in the lock bar insert. If I heat this up, there's a chance that detent ball would fall out. But yeah, we did a little bit of black and red on the blade, and all black handles. Just a little bit Sith-ish. So I thought I'd show you guys. Don't forget, guys, this is an option. If you've got one of these and it's just too plain, we can come up with a color scheme for you if you want. That's just one of those little aspects of this business that I can do, and I can do stuff. You guys probably already, if you follow me on Instagram, probably already saw it. So I will let you guys know when you first get these back, it takes a little bit of break-in. I try to do as much break-in as I can. But when you refinish anything, you change some stuff. Not necessarily dimensionally, but you've changed it enough that it's going to feel a little bit different. Once it breaks in, though, that ceramic on ceramic, it really, I try to break in that detent ball and all that track as good as I can for you guys. So, mosquito. Fuck mosquitoes. So guys, yeah, no, that's it for today. I just wanted to show you guys the dowel, and I will explain to you now why I didn't get one. So I fell in love with this knife. I really did. I thought I wanted it. I really thought I wanted it. I still like the knife. Don't get me wrong. It's an amazing knife. But these two knives are similar enough. They share the same basic blade sweep, and I mean, if you basically do that. So the reason that I like this knife better than this knife is just there's a little bit of weight difference forward of the pivot this knife doesn't have that this knife does, and it's just enough that I like a knife that has a little bit of forward for work purposes, for something I'm working with. I know where that blade is at all times because it's got a little bit of weight forward that this knife doesn't, and that's the only reason. That's the only reason. It has nothing to do with form, function. It is strictly a personal preference. And had Matt not given me this knife as a gift, I would have bought one of these, and I wouldn't know, and I would have been really surprised when I finally got one and carried it, because eventually I would have bought one of these. So, yeah, guys, S35VN. I have to tell you. So there's been some questions about S35VN and why it's still getting used. I have to say that there's a couple companies that their S35VN are fucking amazing. Reat and we so far are the best. I haven't got to see any of the cold steel S35VN, but I do have to say, like I've said in other videos, well, sometimes I get upset about their QC and their QA. You cannot fault their heat treat. I've never seen a poorly heat treated cold steel knife. So there you go, guys. That's my take on it. S35VN, still a good steel if it's heat treated properly. We does it. By far, we has been the best. So it's we and Reat, and then possibly cold steel. I don't know. I haven't got to see any of their stuff in S35VN, but I'm sure I will. I'm sure I will. I get to see interesting things all the time. Guys, I can't tell you how much I appreciate the stuff. You Patreons that get the patrons on my Patreon that get this like almost 24 hours early. I hope you guys are enjoying that. It's about the best I can do for content for the Patreons. As far as everybody else, like I said, if you need sharpening, contact info is in the intro. You guys have fun. Take it easy. There will be no Friday night Ferrum Forge this weekend. I think we're gonna, maybe me and Matt and Nico hang out here at my house, but there's just too much going on with everybody else. So I had thought about filming a video at the shop this week, but I don't think it's gonna happen. I may Saturday, if I go in on Saturday and work, I may film some stuff, but it'll probably, if anything, be a live feed. So, all right, guys, take it easy. I'll see you next time.